Christopher Nolan is one of the best directors working today, so let's go back to the very first film he directed called Following. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good one today. I'm the Movie Raker, and today I'm going to be reviewing the movie Following from 1998. This is Christopher Nolan's debut. It stars Jeremy Theobald and Alex Haw. Now, Christopher Nolan is a great director. He made big films like Inception, Memento, so many great films. He has a new one coming out, Oppenheimer. But back in 98, he made his first flick, and it was a low budget film, like very low budget. Cost $6,000, which is pretty impressive because I enjoyed this movie. I'd give it a positive rating. So this movie only costed $6,000, believe it or not. And certain things he does to hide that budget is black and white. This movie is shot in black and white. He didn't have the technology for lighting and stuff like that, the money to get these fancy lights. So when you make a movie black and white, it kind of hides all those aspects. Can't even make a fan film nowadays without like $40,000-$50,000. So this is super impressive, and it shows how good he really was. Now, getting into the story of this one, there will be small spoilers. So spoiler warning, if you haven't watched this movie and you don't want it to be spoiled, go watch it. It's pretty easy to find. So the story to this one is about this young man who's unemployed, an aspiring writer, and he starts following people around town. Just following, seeing them where they go, what kind of jobs they have, where they live, stuff like that. And it's all kind of just for fun. At the end of the day, he goes to bed, he wakes up, and he doesn't follow that person anymore. That's one of his rules. He'll find someone else. And every day he kind of just chooses someone else to follow. I feel like he was trying to do this to try to get inspired for a story or something to write, since he's a writer. But it becomes more of a thrill to him. Like, this is thrilling, him going out and just sneaking behind people and stuff and finding out who they really are. One day he runs into the wrong guy, follows the wrong guy, and that guy catches him and brings him into his world. He basically starts breaking into houses with this new guy, which is nicknamed Cobb in this film. And they start going around the house, vandalizing it a little bit. They're not there to steal valuables, because most times these are rich people's houses that they're going into. Interesting enough, this new guy Cobb teaches this young man that it's more important to mess with their valuables, their personal belongings. Like, he says every house has a box. And what he means by this, a box with necklaces and stuff that really means something. It could be something that was passed down through generations or whatnot, or a diary or something like that. And he takes them or leaves them to display so that the people will find out that they were in the house. So they're not in there to steal like fancy chandeliers or rich stuff, right? Because these rich people can just go buy more. But when they take something personal like this, there's no replacing it. And at the same time, they're trying to guess what are these people like? What do they do for a living? Trying to kind of imagine their life. And Cobb is not only there to mess with their stuff, he's also there to cause trouble. He plants, for instance, like a pair of panties in a dude's pants pocket so that the wife could find them and think that he's cheating on her. So he's basically narrating the story. He's like, I'm going to make it look like this, which is funny enough because our main guy is supposed to be a writer, but yet this other guy is kind of making up his own narrative, which I thought was real clever. And Cobb got a great quote in this film where he says, "You take it away to show them what they had." And I thought that was just so clever, so cool. And again, these are more personal things, not stealing their Maserati or their car or whatever, you know what I mean? Because they can just buy more. And our two main leads continue as a duo to like rob and vandalize people's homes, mess with their lives. And this keeps going on, and they're getting a little worse, kind of going deeper into this rabbit hole till eventually you find out that Cobb was doing all this to set up the young man to make him look like he's a criminal and to make him get away with it. So in our end, our main lead, who tries to do the right thing, gets screwed over, gets thrown under the bus, while his man Cobb, the guy who showed him the ropes, walks away scot-free, and we get this really cool shot of him just disappearing into the crowd at the very end. He gets away with it. So this whole story I thought was super clever, very original, something I'd never seen before. It's very clever storytelling. It has reveals and twists throughout to keep you interested for its lower budget. And yeah, I had a whole lot of fun with it. And it's not a long film. It's only an hour and 9 minutes long. Barely makes the cut to be a real movie. It's almost considered a short film. But no, it just flew by for me. Like I said, there was enough engaging moments and enough reveals and different things happening to keep me invested. But the big thing is, when I finished watching this movie, I said, that was pretty good. Next day happens, the next day happens, and you know what? I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I love movies like that. It's been so long since I watched a film and it sticks with you. You can't just can't stop thinking about the twists and the story and how cool everything played out and how unpredictable it was. And that's just such a great experience. One of the best experiences you can have with a film. But the film is not perfect. I still have a few nitpicks. For one, the score, or lack thereof. Especially in the first act, there's a few times this musical score plays, and it just comes off as bizarre and a bit annoying, actually, kind of jarring. It doesn't really go well with the scenes, I find. And yeah, and later in the film, I feel like there's a lack of music. It's pretty quiet in the background. Same thing goes for sound effects. Obviously, the budget wasn't there. So when people are getting hit with something or punched or kicked, like getting beat down with a hammer, say, there's not much for sound. And that takes away a little bit of the impact of the scene, of the action. So, but that makes sense with this being only a $6,000 movie. But it was noticeable. And lastly, the accents. This may be just me. I may be biased on this because I'm not from England or English or whatever. I'm Canadian. But it took me a while to get used to the way they talked. They were mumbling a little bit, I found, and they were speaking very fast, and I had a hard time picking up the accent. I eventually caught on after like the first act. I got into the groove of listening to them. Maybe it would have been better with subtitles for me, but I'm just not personally used to their strong, thick accents these actors had. But again, that's more just me. Maybe you won't find it that way, but it is something that I was struggling with in the first act. So like I said, while this is not a perfect film, it's really original and just really impressive for a debut with a budget as small as $6,000. But we see why Christopher Nolan became the great director he is now. And it all started with this film. And if I had to recommend it, I would definitely recommend it. Even people who are not usually into these lower budget movies, I feel like this one has enough skill behind it that and an original story that it was still good. Definitely worth a watch at least once, guys. And if you enjoy his later works, why not go back to where he started? His other films, like I said, like Mementos, Inception, are some of the best films ever made. Even Tenet is super cool. So I'm glad I checked this one out. I will be revisiting it in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys are interested, you can follow me on Letterboxd, Instagram. All those links are in the description of this video. I usually do rankings on this channel, but I'm starting to throw in reviews every once in a while for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and till next time, thanks for watching.